MHSAA On Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award, and by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, promoting healthy eating habits through the Sports Nutrition Award Program.
From the Breslin Student Event Center in East Lansing, the Michigan High School Athletic Association and Farm Bureau Insurance present the 1997 MHSAA Basketball Finals. This is the Class B championship game between the Yellowjackets from Detroit Country Day and the Wildcats of Albion High School. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Berkey alongside at the Breslin. Hard to believe that after all the magic of March, just 4 quarters left in the 1997 boys basketball season. We've already had more than our share of excitement here at the Breslin. Let's recap what's happened so far. Detroit East Catholic on a 3-pointer at the buzzer defeated Tri-Unity Christian 63-60 for the Class D crown. Then in Class C, a strong second half by Redford Bishop Borges earned them a 64-42 verdict over Three Oaks River Valley. Later in the afternoon in Class A, Ottawa Hills from Grand Rapids returned to the finals for the first time in nearly 3 decades and made the trip and the wait worthwhile by defeating Detroit Redford 68-51 for the Class A title. And now we get ready for the Class B matchup, a big finale, much heralded Country Day, and Albion going at it for the Class B crown. You know, Country Day is considered the class of Class B by almost everybody, and by most people, the class of any class, and Albion has to be considered a heavy underdog in this one. However, if Albion needed a boost of encouragement, perhaps they got it last night in the NCAA college tournament when a seemingly invincible team, that being Kansas, was upset in that tournament, and perhaps that gave the Wildcats a boost of encouragement for that one. But for a closer look at the two teams, let's send it down courtside. The two gentlemen will call the action, Tim Staudt and Gregory Kelser.
Thank you, Rick. Good evening, everybody. This is the final game, and maybe we've saved the best for last in terms of excitement. Albion 25-2, and Detroit Country Day 24-3. Let's start with Albion. First of all, they've only lost 2 games, Gregory. One of those was just to this Country Day game, a team 76-54 in December. But we saw them play last night. They're on a roll. They've won 15 straight games. They come in here tonight, no matter what anybody else says. Hey, they're kids. They think they can win.
They come in hot. They come in confident. And I always say, when 2 teams have already met, maybe the advantage in terms of preparation favors the team that lost, because that's the team that will make the adjustments. The team that won will probably play the same, but the team that won will not know exactly how the other team is going to attack.
Yeah, and it's a veteran team. Their coach, Charlie Henderson, says, hey, we got 4 guys we think can play collegiately. Now, the name among them is Jason Moorehead, who is a 6'6 senior. This guy has averaged 30 points over his last 4 games, so he has peaked at the right time in this tournament.
He's a hot player coming in, and you know what? He's averaging about 1 point for every minute he plays on the floor. In their semifinal win the other night, 28 points in 28 minutes. He got up 28. He got up 20 shots, hit half of them.
Now, Detroit Country Day, if River Rouge was the team of the 70s, some of the 60s, and so forth, well, the team of the 90s has been Detroit Country Day, winners of 5 of the last 8 state championships, and they got 4 underclassmen in their starting lineup. They could be back here again, who knows how long.
Well, you know, Country Day has the benefit of being able to get players from everywhere, and a lot of people want to go to Country Day because of that tradition that they've been able to establish. They played a very tough schedule this year. In fact, of their opponents, 10 of them have been ranked either in the top 10, either in Michigan, Illinois, or Ohio. So they play a very tough schedule. So they are tournament ready, and I think they certainly have their eye on a Class B championship here tonight.
Well, they're led by, of course, the incomparable Shane Battier, one of the great players in Michigan high school history. 72-8 over his 3 years. That's Country Day's record. He's been sick all week, but I just talked to his coach, Kurt Keener. Greg, he says he's fine. He'll go at 100% tonight.
Well, you know what? In terms of games that he's actually participated in this year, he's undefeated. Country Day has lost 3 games, but he did not participate in those 3 games. He was out 4 games with an injury. Country Day lost their 3 games during that time. He's a superb player. You're going to enjoy watching him play. Very unselfish. He knows how to play the game. He understands how to play.
He does, and he was very unselfish last night. They said he was about 25% last night. He had a temperature of 102 for a couple days this week, and last night they just let him in and come out at his own pace. And hey, he's a very unselfish kid. He's got these 4 young guys around him, and it's amazing watching how well as a team Country Day plays together. They're very, very good.
Well, it's typical. I mean, they're well coached, and they understand each other. They understand the team aspect of it, knowing that, no one has to shine. Anybody can play well and anybody can get numbers. The overall thing is the team success. And I think that's the reason why they're back here once again.
Okay, it's going to be a good B final tonight. Rick, back to you. Country Day and Albion just about set to go.
Well, we are looking forward to crowning our final champion of the day, and we'll be back with the starting lineups in just a moment. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. We wound down throughout the day here the 1997 boys basketball season. Now just 4 quarters left, 3 champions crowned, and 1 more still to go. Country Day against Albion for the Class B championship. We hope you've enjoyed the action all day long as you brought it here. You've seen it here live on Pass, and we hope you'll stay with us throughout this one as well. Time now for the introduction to starting lineups and the national anthem. Let's send it down one more time to public address announcer Eric O. Forseth.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we invite you to stand. Gentlemen, please remove your hats and caps and join us in the singing of our national anthem, featuring soloist this evening, Ben Scott, a senior at Granville High School. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ben Scott, Granville High School. Good evening. Michigan State University welcomes you to the Breslin Student Event Center for this evening's final game in the 1997 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class B Boys Basketball Tournament. High school sports are a privilege to play and a privilege to watch. A privilege that depends on responsible conduct in school hallways, classrooms, and playing fields. A privilege that depends on good sportsmanship. Good sports are winners because they understand their responsibilities on and off the playing surface. And now let's meet the starting lineup for this evening's game between the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day and the Wildcats of Albion. For Country Day, at forward, 6'5" junior, 34, Mike Mansell. For Albion, at forward, 6'2" junior, 40, Chris Gibson. For the Yellowjackets, at forward, 6'8" senior, 55, Shane Battier. Forward for the Wildcats, 6'6" senior, 44, Jason Moorehead. At center for Country Day, 6'6" sophomore, number 50, Colin Dill. At center for Albion, 6'8" junior, 52, Mike Fuller. At guard for the Yellowjackets, 6'2" junior, number 15, David Weber. At guard for Albion, 5'10" senior, 20, Jermaine Funderburg. The other guard for Country Day, 6' junior, number 20, Javin Hunter. And for Albion at guard, 6'2" senior, 22, Laval Jordan. Head coach of Detroit Country Day, Kurt Keener. Head coach of Albion, Charles Henderson. Your officials this evening, Stephen Johnson, Tony Payne, Tom Smith. Alternate official is Justin Terry.
You get a look at tonight's officials, and again, we should mention what an honor it is for the officials to be made to officiate a state championship contest. All right, one more game still to go. Let's send it back courtside again. Tim and Greg.
And you take a look at the Detroit Country Day team in its huddle. We'll check the lineups again, and those guys all spell their name pretty much the same way. Rob Smith normally would be starting for Albion at center tonight, Greg, but he's got the flu, and you saw number 52, Mike Fuller, get introduced, a 6'8" junior. Shane Battier playing his final high school game. And Gregory, you've seen a lot of great high school players out of Michigan. Where does he stand?
Well, he's probably in the top 15 or so, top 20. I mean, Michigan's had some great players over the years. Battier will certainly be counted amongst them.
And he, of course, is going to Duke University, and so we're set to go. It'll be the junior, Mike Fuller, jumping it up against Shane Battier. Nice to have you with us in this final game of the 97 season. A good crowd on hand tonight at the Breslin Center. They announced earlier today the Breslin Center will host these state championships at least through the year 2001, and hopefully a lot longer than that. Country Day will take it right off the opening tip, and seconds into the game, it's Javin Hunter who scores and Country Day leads.
Well, Hunter doesn't waste any time. I mean, it's an up-tempo Country Day attack. In fact, they can play a lot of ways. They can play up-tempo, they can slow it down and work the half-court.
Battier only scored 10 points last night against Petoskey in a 29-point win, but again, his coach said he was really struggling with effects from the flu. He didn't shoot in the first quarter last night, and his first shot tonight is away.
Well, Mike Fuller, who just got that rebound, has his work cut out. He's got to try to body Battier away from the basket, push him out a little bit further from that paint area.
Inside, there's a whistle and our first foul on the game, and that'll go against the Yellowjackets, as they are known of Country Day. 34 is Mike Mansell, a 200-pound junior, 6'5". And so on the line for Albion, Jason Moorehead. What a terrific player he is, a 6'6" senior. He came into the tournament averaging 22 a game, but he's averaged 30 points a game the last 4 games.
Well, he's going to need a big night. I don't think that Battier has to have a huge night for Country Day to win. They're a well-rounded, balanced team. But I think in order for Albion to win, their big gun, Moorehead, number 44, has to have a big game.
And, of course, that's not the start he wanted from the line. Inside, the shot is altered a bit. Fuller has 2 rebounds in the first 50 seconds of the game. You can see the mask here. It might have altered the shot just a little bit of Country Day's number 20, Javin Hunter, or 22, Mike Runyon. And with the ball loose on the floor and out of bounds, and Country Day will get it back. There's a good look at the mask of Mike Runyon. Only a sophomore. He broke his nose. And it looks a little scarier than that, to be honest with you.
Well, you know what? The problem with that mask cuts down on your peripheral vision. And how about that drive to the basket? That was
Javin Hunter.
Yeah.
He has 4. Javin Hunter's dad, James Hunter. I'm sorry, Funderburg scored it. And so now we're even at 2. We'll get it straight here. So Jermaine Funderburg for Albion ties the game at 2.
Javin Hunter with the ball right now. Funderburg went to the basket right in the chest of Battier. Was not intimidated that last time.
And that shot is out and away by David Weber. And it's pulled down, and now Albion looking to run the other way, hoping to get something going here and break this tie. 6 minutes, 4 seconds to go here in the first quarter. And Funderburg's drive is in, and it's an offensive foul, and that'll go back the other way.
See, Battier is a very crafty defender. A lot of times he has guys thinking he's going to go up and block the shot. So as a penetrator, they're thinking, hey, let me be physical, let me go hard, let me get into his chest. But what he does, he goes the other route. He stands in there, gains position, and draws the offensive charge. So I think it's that unpredictability of Battier defensively that really helps him.
Laval Jordan gets the foul. That's his first. We have one team foul each way. Game tied at 2 here in the early going. Hunter with a basket and Funderburg with a basket for Albion to tie it. He's a little leaner inside, and Javin Hunter with a basket. That's 4 for him. He has all 4 of his team points, and the Yellowjackets go back on top.
Well, you know, you can say all you want about Battier, who's the leading scorer and best player on this team, but Javin Hunter is very solid, almost 18 points a game. So he is no easy guy to handle in there. You come in thinking, hey, Battier, and Hunter knocks you down as well.
Albion winner of 15 straight games. Country Day has won 16 in a row. And there's the drive again, and that one's Funderburg trying to get some help. It doesn't quite fall, and a whistle and a foul inside.
Foul's going to go on Colin Dill. Now, Dill went up that time, had a rebound, but brought it down and was stripped of the basketball by Moorehead. Watch this. There's Dill up 2 hands, but you got to keep it up there. When he brings it down, up right there to take it away and then draw the foul.
Colin Dill's dad, Craig Dill, was a superb player at the University of Michigan back in the 60s. His dad played at Saginaw. I well remember him. And so here's his son. So that's the second team foul now on Country Day. Albion to inbound it underneath its own basket, and they'll try it again. That's Laval Jordan underneath the basket with the face mask. Good look at Kurt Keener, now in his 19th year as the head coach at Detroit Country Day. And the school is located in Beverly Hills, Michigan, which is adjacent Birmingham. So now Albion looking for the equalizer here in the early going. Again, it was a 76-54 Country Day win over Albion back in December. And Albion's only other loss was to Portland, 71-67. And Portland had a very good year in Class B as well. Now the drive down the lane with a left hand is altered just a little bit. And that just wouldn't quite go for Jermaine Funderburg. Loose underneath, they'll jump it up, and Albion will get it back on the alternate possession.
I tell you what, Funderburg right there, he's quick. He can get into the lane, and that could cause problems for Country Day as this game wears on. He's got into the lane 3 times now, has been able to finish his shot once right over the top of Battier.
Well, Mike Fuller gets a fine hand from the Albion crowd as he comes out, and Rob Smith, 54, is in the game, the normal starter at center, but he is battling the flu, so we'll see how he does. He has the basketball, and right away, it didn't bother him at all, and we're tied at 4.
That's the way to come off the bench, and that'll get his confidence going real quick. It will also help him forget about the ill effects of his cold.
His temperature will come down a little bit with that, although his game was hot right away. So now at the 4:15 mark, we're tied at 4 and a whistle inside, and this goes against Albion. Now, about this point last night, Shane Battier took himself out. He tapped his head and came out because he was exhausted. But again, Kurt Keener said he should feel fine today. They're calling that foul on Chris Gibson, number 40. And that is now 2 team fouls here. And Battier gets his first points of the night, and Country Day is up by 2. 6-4 here at the 4-minute mark in the first quarter from the Jack Breslin Center. Country Day's played a number of games here. 6 over these 3 years in the semifinals and finals. And a big slam dunk inside by Javin Hunter, who has 6 points in the first quarter.
Well, how athletic is he?
Moorehead's chance for 3 goes away. And Country Day loves the speed of this right now. There's the layup. No, but tipped up and in.
Did you see that pass by Javin Hunter? Now, he's showing me a lot in just 5 minutes. The fact that he can shoot it from the outside, he can finish on the break, and he can also push it with the dribble and pass it on the break.
Mike Mansell was the beneficiary of that basket, the 200-pound junior. And so it's a 10-4 game. Charles Henderson, the Albion coach, calls timeout as his team needs to slow it down, catch its breath. Let's take a look at this again.
This was the dunk earlier, as Hunter got out ahead of the field. Nobody's going to stop. No one's going to catch him on that play. And then watch this no-looker. Watch his head. And look at the ball. Perfectly delivered. Just an excellent execution on the fast break, except for the finish. But hey, Country Day is right there to tip it in with number 34, Mansell.
So they followed the play beautifully, and as Gregory said, that's a textbook play. Great pass. Javin Hunter's dad, James Hunter, played for the Detroit Lions for 7 seasons. He was a defensive back. You well remember him. Obviously, it's in the genes.
Yeah, he was very, very good defensive back, too. An injury short-circuited his career, a career-threatening neck injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And so Country Day is off to a good start shooting. And Gregory, you look at this team. Colin Dill is a sophomore. Mansell is a junior. Javin Hunter's a junior. David Weber, Chris's littlest brother, he's a junior. I mean, where does it end for these guys? Obviously not this season. As you look at Charles Henderson, the Albion coach now, who is in his 6th season. His team has won 90 games and lost 46 over that period. And a good look at Shane Battier. They list him at 6'8", 215 pounds. A lean, mean fight machine. A good student. This Country Day team collectively has a 3.2 grade point average. They're all good students and good basketball players. So at the 3:22 mark, now Albion has it back. They've tried to slow this down a bit with that timeout. At 24 for Country Day, into the game, Mike Knight, the 6'1" junior. On the turnover, here's Mike Knight at the end, and he puts it up with a left hand and gets it to go. Mike Knight, and it's a 12-4 game, and it's an 8-point run now for the Yellowjackets.
A lot of indecision on the part of Albion, and if that continues, they'll be in trouble. That time, Moorehead went inside, wanted to shoot it, and then changed his mind in midair. Turned the ball over.
Here's the little baseline jumper, and it's up and down by Lavelle Jordan. That's his first 2, and it's 12-6. That ends the run. Well, Greg, Albion was down 23-15 to Flint Powers last night and rallied to win. They'll have to do it again tonight. They won that game 74-59 here in the Breslin Center. Battier with a little hook, and he has 4. Right hand move, little low post move. So it's now 14-6. That equals the biggest lead for Country Day tonight. Same shot we saw a moment ago. This time it won't go for Lavelle Jordan. Back Country Day down the other way. A little left-hand flip. No, but they follow the shot beautifully, and Javin Hunter has 8 points in the first quarter.
Tell you what, Albion flat-footed right now, standing around, a lot of looking. That's twice now. Country Day has cleaned up off of a fast break, missed layup, while Albion stands and spectates. They've got to do a better job.
Here's Moorehead, beautiful dish off inside on the foul. And it's a tough break for Rob Smith, Gregory. Maybe he should have had that on one free throw, but it went away, and so he'll go to the line. All right, I'll take a look again here on the replay. And it's loose inside, and here they go the other way, and they do this well. David Weber has that foul. As you see once again, there's the watch the trailer play here. Inside on the tip. Oh, that's the one that fell in by Mike Knight. So on the line here, Rob Smith. David Weber with the foul, his first 13th foul. And Smith's free throwing makes it a 16-7 game.
You know, back in 1991 with Chris Webber, Country Day beat then undefeated, or maybe, I think they had lost one game, Albion for the championship. So these two teams accustomed to getting to the final game. Country Day very accustomed to getting to the final game and winning.
Colin Dill with the tip in with a putback, and that makes it 18-7 now. That's now the biggest lead. It was 4-4, and since then it's been a 14-3 run, and Country Day with another steal. They'll give it right back, however, on the play out of bounds, and so in front of the scorer's bench, the scorer's table, we'll get a whole lot new players back into the game. Well, Shane Battier must feel better because he's gone all the way so far here in the first quarter. You're looking here, 24 here is Mike Knight. So Albion has it, looking to cut into that 11-point deficit in the final game of the season. Here's Moorehead, hasn't had anything going yet. There's his first 2 of the night, and that maybe will get him on track. Jason Moorehead cuts it to 18-9.
Yeah, Albion would hope so. And that's the first move he's really made where he moved with a purpose, and shot the ball like he meant it.
Ray Guthrie, number 10, is on the floor. He's only a freshman, and he's playing in this game early on. So Country Day has a number of players in the lineup here in the first quarter. That foul against Albion. And that's Jermaine Funderburg. That's his first foul, third team foul. So each team with 3 team fouls now. And little Ray Guthrie, who has severe asthma and has battled it all year, battles it all the time, of course, is on the floor. A 5'11", 150-pound freshman. If he can play on this team, Gregory, he must be pretty good. Well, it gives it to Battier. That's his first good move right there. 6 for Shane Battier. Was not defended well. And again, it's an 11-point lead. We're inside 30 seconds to play the first quarter. You can see Mike Fuller is back on the floor. They've got Smith out of there. So Smith's flu may have sapped some of his strength. Way outside a three-pointer, and it's good by Moorehead. Jason Moorehead has 5, and it cuts it to 8.
Another move with purpose.
And as Greg said, he'll need a big game for his team tonight to have a chance against the polished Yellowjackets of Country Day. Shot is pulled down by Mike Fuller as we come to the end of the first quarter. A good start for Country Day. Albion shows some flashes, and the Wildcats will have to pick up the pace. We'll come back with a second quarter from the Jack Breslin Center. It's Country Day by 8. You're watching the MHSAA on Pass.
You see Detroit Country Day with an 8-point lead over Albion. Rick Berkey alongside with Marshall Thomas, our guest analyst all day long. And first thing we looked for as we saw him take the floor, would Albion be intimidated? I didn't think that they were.
No, they weren't. 2 reasons. First off, they've played them before, so they know what type of a team they are. But Albion's a talented bunch of young men themselves.
Secondly, though, even though they weren't intimidated, I tell you, Country Day showed why they have the reputation they do.
You know, you made a comment a little bit earlier that Country Day is the class of Class B and very probable the class of the state, and regardless of class. And I kind of agree with you. I kind of predict that this game will either be tight or it'll be a runaway.
What does Albion have to do to cut into that 8-point deficit, specifically on the floor?
Well, again, they can't do silly stuff. They've got to play smart, but they've got to hit the shots.
We'll see what happens second quarter, Greg and Tim.
All right, take a look at this one more time. Here's Jason Moorehead, number 44, with Shane Battier contesting him, Gregory, but he got it to go.
Sometimes it takes good players a moment or two to get their act together. And I thought the last 2 times that Moorehead got the basketball, he went with the purpose. He went like he fully intended to make something happen, and he came away with 5 very critical points for Albion.
Tim Staudt, Greg Kelser with you at the Jack Breslin Center as you look at Jason Moorehead, the 6'6" senior, number 44, and right in front of our broadcast table here, 9th grader, number 10, Ray Guthrie, inbounds a basketball to 15, David Weber. And so Country Day looking to add here to its 8-point lead. Yellowjackets have led by 12. There's a foul that goes against Albion, and that one is against Moorehead, who's trying to make something happen here. Good for his team defensively, and he picks up his first foul. And it's now 4 team fouls on Albion. And so once again, little Ray Guthrie will inbound it. He once again is looking for Battier, and it's tipped away, and they'll try it again. So Detroit Country Day has been in control. They had a 14-3 run here late on the first quarter to give them the margin they now enjoy. Battier pulls up from 8 feet, knocks it down, and Battier has 8 points tonight in his final high school game. He had 10 last night in limited service, limited action. And so far, he has been unstoppable. He's 4 out of 5 from the field here in the early going.
Well, you know what? Twice Country Day has had the ball out of bounds underneath their own basket, and twice they've given it to Battier, and twice he scored. I'd advise Albion to try to keep the ball out of his hands when they're taking it out underneath.
Boy, he and Moorehead had a huge collision underneath there, and the battle goes on. Look at Fuller battling and scrapping inside. Albion can mix it up with him.
It's going to take all that and a lot of this.
For 3, that one is up and in by Lavelle Jordan. That's 5 for him. Second 3 for Albion tonight, and the lead is cut to 7.
I knew that was in when it left.
Country Day has 11 two-point field goals tonight. That's been it. Most of them on transition. And the 4 that Shane Battier has put up from around the basket. And you're right, Greg. They take that junior Mike Fuller, 52, and he's just pushing and shoving with Battier, trying to hold him one-on-one. They'll double down on him when it gets down there.
Hey, Fuller doesn't have to score a single point. If he just keeps Battier away from the basket, make him take tough shots, and don't let him offensive rebound, he's done his job.
Chris Gibson picks up his second foul for Albion. That's now 5 team fouls on the Wildcats, and so this will be inbounded from the baseline, and David Weber will take it on. Guthrie goes out of the game, gets a nice hand.
Let's see if Battier catches it again now. He's been the receiver both times out of bounds.
So there's the double team, goes right around his head. Moorehead makes a big stop. That's the play of the night defensively for Moorehead. Battier beat 2 guys, not 3, takes it all the way, but can't finish the play.
Battier didn't block that shot, but he certainly altered it.
Beautiful scoop shot up and in by Javin Hunter, who has 10 points. Now, that's the thing about Country Day. Battier gets all the news, but the guys around him can play too. And the 3 is thrown up and down beautifully by LaValle Jordan. He has 8. It's a 6-point game.
Hey, LaValle Jordan, you know, maybe the same thing goes for Albion. Moorehead, you talk about him, but Jordan is very solid.
Don't take that mask off. He's figured out how to deal with it.
You're right.
Battier saves it. Blocked away beautifully by Rob Smith. Numbers are Albion's 3-on-1. A layup to roll.
It might go in. Oh. Now, you know what? That's the farthest I've seen a ball go up off a missed dunk. That thing almost hit the ceiling.
I don't know if we got a shot that shows that thing. That thing went up 25 feet in the air before it came down. Some wild action here.
You know what happened? He went to dunk it. Now, here's the block on Battier. Excellent timing. Got the ball. Brilliant play there by Moorehead. And now here's the other block. And the nice thing about this, that's number 54, Rob Smith, keeping it inbounds. He kept it inbounds, and his team was able to retrieve it. Now here's where the ball caroms 40 feet in the air after the missed dunk.
Mike Mansell is on the line. That free throw gives him 3 points. Mike Fuller picked up that foul, his first. So it's now a 25-18 game. That was a wild missed dunk at the other end, but a tough break for Albion. They needed the points.
They really did. They really, really did. But you know what? They're playing livelier, much more confidently here in this second quarter, Albion.
So the Wildcats now back on offense. 7 down. They've hung in there. They've mixed it up with the Yellowjackets, and the game which has featured some big plays at both ends, including one right there. And Jason Moorehead, 7 points for him now, and it's 25-20.
Hey, they're here. They are here to play Albion much more controlled and poised here in this last 4 or 5 minutes.
Here's the 3 from outside. That one falls away. Javin Hunter can't get it to go, one of the few times he's missed. And Albion 5 down with a basketball, and this crowd is alive in here in the Breslin Center.
Well, surprisingly, Javin Hunter shot that ball flat-footed. That's the first time he's done that in this game.
Baseline jumper is all air, and Battier, let's see how he handles it. He does it the wise thing, gives it to his guards, and I'll tell you what, this Javin Hunter can play. He's got 12 points.
You know what? He may be the best player on the floor.
He is awfully good. Only a junior. That layup was ill-advised, and on the floor, and just as quick as Albion's in the game, it's a layup line for Country Day, and Hunter has another one.
He is so athletic. My goodness.
29-20 as quickly as that in transition baskets. You know, you think you stop Battier for a moment, and they haven't. He has 8, but Javin Hunter has 14 points in the first half, 22 of Country Day's 29. That 3 is away. It comes back, and nobody can pick it up. And then Battier gets it for a moment.
They should go at him. They got numbers.
Here's the long 3 is short, but Funderburg picks it back up and scores.
No need to stop. No need to pull it out. When you've got numbers, go at it.
So it's a 7-point game.
It's a good game.
3:40 to play. Well, there's an entertaining. If it's going to be anything, make it entertaining and close. That's what we always root for, close, entertaining games. And this one has the promise of that. And there's a little entertaining move right there by David Weber, who gets his first two. I'm not sure Chris could have made that shot.
You know what? I saw him shoot that twice in the layup line before the game. 2 times, so obviously he had something in mind when he was practicing that shot.
So it's a 9-point game once again. Now Moorehead here holding it up outside, looking for his move. And they got him off balance. Funderburg didn't have the shot he wanted. Here comes Javin Hunter, number 20.
Funderburg needs to keep it in the right hand when he goes inside.
Boy,
just like Hunter does. I mean, twice now, Funderburg has gone inside and tried to shoot the awkward left-hand shot, and it hasn't even come close.
I don't think Hunter made that many layups in the game, but the pregame, and he's got 16 points, all of them but one on transition layups. Look at the left-hand dribble here, right hand, left hand. Boy, he is an athlete. You're right.
Yeah. You know who he reminds me of? Greg Graham. Remember him? Same body size and mannerisms out on the floor. Right there. Strong to the basket. Greg Graham played at Indiana. And has been in the NBA for the last 3 or 4 years.
I'll tell you one thing, Gregory. They get your field goal percentage up, and they're 16 of 27 for 59%. And Javin Hunter is 8 out of 10. Conversely, Albion's 9 of 26. Well, next Saturday we'll have all 4 final matches of the 1997 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Volleyball Tournament. We'll start things off at noon in Class D and run all day long with action from University Arena in Kalamazoo. So you join us next Saturday as the best in high school championship sports coverage continues here exclusively on Pass Sports. Tim Staudt, Greg Kelser, you looking at the Detroit Country Day huddle. 33-22 Country Day. Its biggest lead has been 12. It's now 11. Yeah, like you say, Gregory, for Albion to win the game, they really can't have any lapses. And for every good play they make, they'll make a bad play now and then, and that gives, that negates what they've done positively.
Yeah, can't have lapses. Certainly cannot have mistakes and turnovers and poor shot selection.
So here's the Albion huddle around their head coach, Charles Henderson.
I want to talk about Funderburg for a quick moment. Well, go ahead.
No, that's okay. We talk about him right now. We're just getting ready to break.
Well, number 20, Funderburg, white jersey, Albion. I think it's really good that he can penetrate, he can get into the paint, but his decision-making is not very good. That has to improve when he get in there. He has to know when to try his own shot and when to try and find a teammate.
Now Country Day with a couple of new players back on the floor. Mike Knight, number 24, is in there. So 2:42 to play and a half. Albion's 11 down. Inside, here's Fuller, the junior, and it just doesn't quite go for him. And on the rebound, a whistle, and the foul's going to go against Albion. And that's a tough break. Fuller's had a couple of balls around the rim that just wouldn't fall.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's moving without the basketball and making himself available for drop-offs. But you're right, he's not gotten the benefit of the roll. They've rolled off.
Here's Charles Henderson. He's a native of Louisiana, okay, and he was at Peabody High School in Louisiana, then to Southern University, got his master's from Western Michigan University, and he coached the girls basketball team and has at Albion for 17 years, so he can't get enough of this. He starts with the girls in the summer and fall and then moves right over to the boys team. As you can see, substitutions. Moorehead comes back on the floor. Jason Moorehead for Albion. And Laval Jordan, who leads Albion in scoring with 8, is on the sideline. So here's Shane Battier. Fuller had the foul, his second. And Battier to the free throw line first time tonight. 9 points for him now. That was the 7th team foul on Albion, so we're in the 1-and-1 now.
You mentioned Henderson has his master's degree. What a commitment to education and an example that is for young kids.
Colin Dill's shot was altered on the miss, so Battier now with 9 points. Shane came in today averaging 20 points a game. They don't need a lot of scoring from him, as you've seen on this team. A lot of other players can do it.
Yeah, very evident.
And yet, if he did have to, you wonder how many he could get. Turnaround shot is altered around the rim, and Battier muscles. Moorehead gets it away. And a little muscle here. And Albion keeps scrapping. They drive him crazy. And Albion gets a turnover, so they'll put it back into play. Moorehead and Battier visiting with each other as they go back up the floor, and they're guarding each other. And as you see, number 20, Javin Hunter back on the floor after a brief rest, and David Weber takes a seat. So Albion, Chris Gibson will inbound the basketball for the Wildcats. Laval Jordan looking for a seam, but that shot was altered, and then Moorehead picks up the foul. And whether or not he's over challenging here, Gregory, Shane Battier, because they cannot get him in foul trouble. That's the second foul on Jason Moorehead with 1:58 to play in the quarter.
Hey, Battier is very smart. He does not foul out of games. I mean, he knows how to stay on the floor. He knows when to challenge and when to not challenge. We talked about that a little earlier. I love the scrappiness right now of Albion, but you know, they're digging a hole for themselves because the shots they're taking here lately have been not very good shots.
Battier has 9 points, 6 rebounds so far, as you see the Albion bench. So 1-1 for Shane Battier. Only 1 out of 3 so far from the free throw line, and that's a break for Albion with 1:54 to play in the half. We'll see if the Wildcats can get something going here. Here's Moorehead. Boy, I tell you, Moorehead fires a 3 and knocks it down to cut the deficit to 9.
If they could get the deficit to 6 or 5 by halftime, I think Albion could consider it a pretty good half, but then they'd have to come out real quick, ready to go at the start of the second half.
Battier turns it over off the doublehead. Moorehead now has 10 points to lead his team in scoring. Beautiful drive with a left hand, Jermaine Funderburg, and it's a 7-point deficit. No, Albion's not going to go away. And in this last minute and 13, they're trying to work on that deficit.
I don't know if Funderburg's right-handed or left-handed.
It's hard to tell. He shot that left-handed from the right-hand side.
Maybe I'll ask it at halftime.
32, Jared Lewis here with the basketball is in the game now for Country Day. There's a little 6-footer in and out. Battier with a tip. He smells it and gets it to go. You get him around there. That's 11 points for Shane Battier. And he's having a big half, 5 out of 7 from the floor. Moorehead, that was altered, but Fuller is there, and he's fouled, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Well, finally, Fuller gets rewarded for some hustle. I mean, he's been around the ball constantly. Finally gets a foul, and then put him on the free throw line for a couple of free throws.
That foul goes against Javin Hunter. That is his first, only the 4th team foul here in the first half. You see all the inside contact underneath the basket.
Watch Battier. You know, penetration really hurts. You saw it draw the attention of Fuller, so now he's out of position. He cannot effectively block out Battier. Battier makes him pay with the offensive putback.
Mike Fuller hits his first free throw. That cuts the deficit to 8. And Mike Fuller's first point of the night.
Yeah, don't blame Fuller for what happened a moment ago. He had to step up and try to cut off the penetration.
Well, Moorehead gets it back. And is he going to get fouled or get the 2? He gets the 2.
Hey, a 3-point possession there. And a 6-point deficit for the game. Albion's right back in this.
Well, Jason Moorehead with some active play has 12 points. And you can count it down here on the clock in the first half. Stay with us at halftime. We got lots of features, live interviews, highlights, scores, all that good stuff. And a good second half coming up. Here goes Hunter down a lane. There's nobody there, and that'll end the first half. So Albion, after trailing 20-12 at the end of the first quarter, goes on a little run here and cuts that margin dramatically with 18 points in the second quarter and outscoring Country Day in the second quarter, 18-16. It's halftime here at the Breslin Center. Country Day by 6. You're watching the MHSAA on Pass.
The MHSAA On Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award, and by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, promoting healthy eating habits through the Sports Nutrition Award Program.
Halftime of the Breslin, the final game of the 1997 basketball season across the state of Michigan. And you see Country Day with a 6-point lead, and that's certainly better than being down by 6, but Albion's hopes have to be somewhat buoyed after a strong second quarter by the Wildcats, who appeared on the verge of being quite a bit out of this one before that rally in the second period got them within 6 points as they are right now. We've got a big halftime lined up for you here in our Class B finale. We've got an interview with the executive director of the MHSAA, Jack Roberts. We've also got analysis with Marshall Thomas as he looks at that first half and breaks down what both Albion and Country Day did well. Plus, we've got first half stats and more. So we've got a whole lot more to come. We hope you stay with us. One of your network sponsors is the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. We have crowned 3 champions here at the Breslin Student Events Center so far, and we're halfway to crowning our 4th and final one. You see Country Day's Yellowjackets with a 6-point lead over the Wildcats of Albion High. Rick Berkey joined right now by Executive Director of the MHSAA, Jack Roberts, and another great weekend here at the Breslin.
It is. It's always an exciting time, and for us it's the culmination of a full season, winter season of tournaments where we've seen ice hockey and boys swimming and skiing and volleyball and wrestling and so many activities, girls gymnastics, competitive cheer. So this is the end of a very busy winter season of tournaments.
Jack, we talk about the basketball all the time, but an interesting study released this week on the economic impact of the tournament here in Lansing. Tell us about it.
It was a real surprise to us. It was determined by an independent survey conducted last year that the largest single weekend annual sporting event in mid-Michigan in the greater Lansing area is the boys basketball tournament economically. It was determined through this survey that about $10.5 million is spent directly by the people involved in this tournament, and indirectly that translates to about a little over $20 million. So it's a tremendous economic impact to greater Lansing area.
I know you've always said that the MHSAA tournaments are great for schools and communities at any level, but did you think the impact would be this big?
No, I didn't, and I don't want to overemphasize it. I know it's really important to people who do business here, but what we think is important is a lot of young people come to town, a lot of energy and enthusiasm accumulates here in town, and I think it's very important for Michigan State University to have thousands of young high school students on their campus this weekend.
Jack, the MHSAA continues to put a high emphasis, as they should, on sportsmanship, and it's a relevant topic, especially when you see what's happened at the other levels of athletics.
Our work gets harder and harder as the standards of sportsmanship seem to go lower and lower at other levels. So we're going to be doing more and more every year. This year, in fact, we've got a 12-point initiative that involves more education, more encouragement and reinforcement of good things, enforcement of some more penalties, and also some exposure of those programs and those individuals that don't measure up to our high standards.
Jack, we look around the Breslin here and we see the new banners and everything, and you're really getting the message out here.
And we have to try new messages because the old messages get worn out after a while. So we're going to have not only new slogans, but lots of new rules, new campaigns, new penalties if necessary. But I got to tell you, I think the kids don't need any more penalties. I think the players on the floor are the best behaved in the arena. In fact, they're the best behaved athletes on any level of sport. It seems like the older the athlete gets, the more immature the athlete can behave. Not so here. Our youngsters are well behaved. I think we need next to target the people in the stands. Sometimes the fans are saying things that a kid would get a technical foul for saying out on the floor. I think we got to clean up the stands to equal the good behavior we have on the floor.
Any ideas yet on how we reach the adults? We know we have at least a shot at the kids while they're in school, but the adults are not there.
No, and I think good sportsmanship begins at home. That is, in the local community. And we're going to have a statewide sportsmanship summit this September for the first time, at which we're going to emphasize that theme. What is working in some schools and in some school districts, in some leagues and conferences, those programs that are already working, and we hope other communities will steal those ideas, implement them in their communities, and maybe we can, at the grassroots level, improve sportsmanship in Michigan.
Jack, always great to visit with you.
Thank you. Good to be with you, Rick.
Stay with us at halftime of the Class B finale. You see Country Day on top by 6. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. Well, a few eyebrows raised at this one. A lot of folks that thought it might be over by halftime. But guess what? Albion's Wildcats says, like the unsinkable Molly Brown, I ain't down yet. They're only down by 6 points. And Marshall Thomas joins me, and let's talk about that first half. And right at that point, you think Albion was in trouble. somehow they pulled it together to keep it a ball game.
They could have quit, but again, they're a very, very excellent ball team, very, very athletic, probably as athletic of a team in the state other than the team that they're playing, Detroit Country Day.
Well, speaking of athleticism, we certainly have seen it on the floor, and we'll start with Javin Hunter here of Country Day.
This is a tremendous, tremendous effort. You know, he had tremendous body control. This is one young man who's as quick as light, and he has tremendous, tremendous body control.
Then if you see it, first of all, it'll start on the defensive end with a steal, and quickly again they'll give to Hunter, and this time no finesse here. This is power.
Seemed like he was just continuing to rise, and they ended up stuffing the ball. He's not a very big guy either. He's only about 5'9", and he went up and stuffed it like he was about 6'5".
And then on the other end, we see the steal here by Jermaine Funderburg, and Jermaine will take it coast to coast.
This is his counterpart on the other end. This is why the score is 36-30, because they're playing against some very, very talented young men too.
So that big second quarter gets them within 6 points. First of all, from the Country Day standpoint, okay, they've gotten the ball to Battier, and he's been effective. And yet, I guess, what is Kurt Keener saying to try to build up that 6-point lead?
Well, one of the things that they've done has been a key. They've gotten a chance to rest a lot of their key people. Now, Albion hasn't had the opportunity of doing that. Let's see if that makes a difference in the second half.
Now, from the Albion standpoint, what do they want to change?
They don't really want to change much at all, because I think their heart is into it, of really wanting to win this here state championship. But again, the key is, can they hit their shots?
I thought that Greg and Tim both made a good comment when they were talking about the big fella for Albion inside. Said he doesn't have to score a point tonight if he just continues to battle. He's doing okay as far as holding his own inside. He's
causing Battier all kind of trouble because he's a big-bodied guy, the individual, and he's in there rebounding and causing all kind of havoc.
It's good to see Battier apparently much healthier than we saw him in the semifinals when he was battling that 100-degree temperature.
Yeah, he was. And he seems to be feeling a lot better today.
All right, we've still got another half of basketball to come, and Country Day on top by 6, so keep it here because this is the MHSAA on Pass. Just 2 quarters of basketball remain in the 1997 season. The Class B finale coming up. Let's send it down courtside for the analysis of the two fellows closest to the action, Tim Staudt and Gregory Kelser.
Okay, Rick, Detroit Country Day with its lead at one time at 12 down to 6. Gregory, the shooting for Country Day has been sensational. Albion not shooting all that well. And, you know, the rest of the statistics here are pretty well even. And as Marshall Thomas said, you know, a lot of this, I guess, is just going to come down. Can Albion make more shots here in the second half?
Well, they're getting their share, and they're holding their own on the glass. What Albion must do, we said, to get back into this game and feel good about themselves at halftime, they needed to be within 6 or 5, well, they're down 6. Now they've got to be the team that gets the first spurt in the second half if they're going to stay in this game.
And they'll have to tighten it up defensively a bit. We'll take a look at the scoring leaders for each of these clubs. And Javin Hunter was sensational in the first half. Only a junior. Shane Battier's final high school game has him scoring more tonight. He scored all last night. And Mike Mansell is down. He is a double-figure score, averages 14 a game. But so far tonight, he's been held in check. Moorehead rallied, 12.6 rebounds, got off to a slow start. Laval Jordan with 8, Funderburg with 6. They score normally for Albion, and those guys are having a normal night for them. Albion won a state title back in 1939, the only state title in school history. And Albion looking to try to get it done here tonight in an upset mode. They lost in the finals here in 1991 to Country Day, 68-57. So whether Country Day can pull this one off and hang on or expand on its lead, hey, we'll have to wait and see. So we're just about set to go here. Somebody's winning streak's going to end because Country Day's won 16 straight, Albion 15 straight. And this is the final game of the day. Detroit East Catholic won the first one today by 3 points. Redford Bishop Borges has won, and Grand Rapids Ottawa Hills. Those are the 3 state champions, and here's the 4th and final game, the final 16 minutes. Albion in white, now going in front of its own bench, and right away, Country Day takes back a miss down the other way, and the layup is good by Mike Mansell, who must have heard what we just said. He scores immediately, and he's got 5.
Well, that's making a team pay for the turnover right away, taking it in transition.
Moorehead dumps it off, and they're going to call him for an offensive foul. That's his third foul, second offensive foul. He might have been better just to take that himself.
Well, to pull up, you don't always have to take it all the way in. If you can stop right about there and just go straight up and don't let your momentum carry you into a defender that's trying to get an offensive charge, well, that's going to be a better decision.
And Battier took the charge, and now Battier will bring the basketball by himself up over the floor.
Ooh, showing his versatility.
And Fuller's out there 25, 30 feet away from the basket dog. And now Battier wants to take him to the hoop, but Fuller does a good job of stopping him. The problem is there are other guys again who can play, and Javin Hunter gets that one. That's 18 points for Javin Hunter. So he's having a big game, and it's quickly 40-30. And Albion once again is back to a 10-point deficit.
There's the pull-up. That's the pull-up. Hey, you missed the shot, but at least you didn't commit a foul. You got an attempt. You got an opportunity.
Inside, Hunter with 20 points, averaging 18. He now has 20, and it's quickly 42-30. And Charles Henderson not at all pleased by the start of the third quarter, and so Albion has to take a timeout.
It's not the start they wanted.
Not the one they wanted at all, and so Albion calls timeout with 6 minutes 47 seconds to go in the third quarter. Now it's time for a Michigan High School Athletic Association Finals flashback.
It's time for a look back in Michigan high school sports history with the Front Row Flashback. It's 1972. The Panthers of River Rouge trailed the Tigers of Muskegon Heights by 7 points with 46 seconds to go. But the Panthers put on a basketball clinic in the closing minute by scoring an amazing 8 unanswered points to win the game. And the River Rouge Panthers are the 1972 Class B basketball champions.
Tim Staudt, Greg Kelser at the Breslin Center. Javin Hunter with 20 points on 10 out of 12 shooting. And Gregory, when you can make a ball in transition, it cuts down your chances of missing.
Well, he's the fastest player on the floor. By far the best athlete on the floor. He's just beating everyone down. He's finishing with the right. He's finishing with the left hand. It really doesn't matter. And Hunter's having himself one sensational game right now.
So Country Day starting the second half has shut out the Wildcats. And so as we start play here, resume play, at the 6:47 mark of the third quarter, can Albion get on a run here? Now, Albion's capable of doing that. They have talented players, but they've made mistakes in transition, and that's what's killed them, because a number of Country Day's points end up come on layups. There's the drive. Rob Smith is, I'm telling you, this Battier's taken a beating in his final high school game.
Well, you know what? Surprisingly, he really hasn't gone for many block shots. He's standing in there, posing as a roadblock, looking for the offensive charge, and he's really got the Albion players off balance.
Rob Smith, 54. Again, he didn't start tonight. He's playing with a flu, and he only can go for short stretches. He's going to draw a foul there. And so that'll go against Country Day, the first foul on Country Day. And I believe it's Colin Dill who gets it. That's his second personal foul. So Albion will inbound the basketball here. Albion shot 57% last night in defeating Flint Powers and coming from behind to do it, as you see the turnover. But tonight they're 32%. So the 25 percentage points are going to make a difference here, and they're 12 down. Kurt Keener looking on. He's been here before. 5 state titles in the last 8 years, hoping to make it 6 in the last 9. And 4 underclassmen in his starting lineup. The inside, the reverse, no. Colin Dill pulls it away. Country Day, a very unselfish team, well coached, balanced. They've played all those teams from Ohio and Illinois. One of the games they lost to was to Peoria Manual. That's where A.J. Guyton of Indiana went to school. Nice move by Battier, 13 points for him. They lost to Peoria Manual by 5, and Battier did not play in all 3 losses when he broke that elbow, and he's come back though off that elbow injury and had a good year. There's Moorehead inside for the first points for Albion here in the second half.
You know, I thought we were about to have a repeat of the game we had earlier. You may remember a team had 30 at halftime and stayed there in eternity, and that was about to happen again for Albion, but they finally scored.
Shane Battier says, I feel like a few points, so he's got 4 in a row, 15 for the night, and that makes it now another 14-point difference. Here's the baseline 3, and that one rattles in and around, and it's pulled out of there by David Weber. Weber kids just about all look alike. And Jason and David and Chris, that's not a charge. They'll get a block here on David Weber, his second foul. And Rob Smith threw the foul. That's 2 team fouls now.
Look at Rob Smith. You talk about that asthma he's suffering, and oh, you got a feel for him. Just out there right now trying to catch a breath. That's a bigger obstacle, a bigger opponent for him than Country Day was right now.
Chris Gibson goes out, and onto the floor comes Jesse Campbell, number 34, a senior for Albion. Albion is a senior-dominated team. All but one starter is a senior. Chris Gibson, who just went out as the junior. All right, for Country Day, Mike Knight, 24 in. Colin Dill goes out. And on the line here, again, is Rob Smith, number 54. So he doesn't feel anywhere near 100%, but for the state championship game, he'll play.
There you go. You go as much as you can.
He has 3 points off the bench. Albion just 2 out of 6 from the free throw line tonight. And so Rob hits 1 out of 2, 13-point deficit. Fuller in, and Rob Smith staggers off the floor, as you can see.
His coaching staff, they appreciate the effort he's putting forth. The fact that he's out there, he's trying to help his team.
And he does look beat over on the bench. So Country Day now at the 4:59 mark in the third quarter here, hoping to add to its 13-point deficit. The last 4 points have been scored by Shane Battier, and he has the ball. And he's looking to get it back. Now he's looking to make a move. And Fuller does a heck of a job to alter that shot. And Battier wants it back again. There he is. That's what he wants, and that's what he gets. 17 for Shane Battier.
The Country Day is a patient team. You know, Battier feels very comfortable that if he gets it in the post and he's not where he wants to be, he'll kick it back out, knowing that he'll move and get it back.
Here's the left-hander.
I'm sure now he's a left-hander. It took me 3 quarters to figure it out. But Funderburg is a left-hander.
And let's see, we got a foul. 4:09 to go in the third quarter. That's LaVelle Jordan's second foul. As many games as we've done, that cracks me a little more.
Well, you know, the amazing thing is he doesn't dribble with his left hand hardly at all. He's always trying to go right. So I thought that was his strong side.
Here's Battier, and he's fouled, and he'll go to the line. You know, it almost looks, Gregory, as they kind of, when Battier kind of calls for it, because he kind of feels like it, then they're going to look to get it to him, and it kind of goes through that zone where, well, no, I'll pass it on. You know, because they're very patient, they get along well together.
He's a big guy, you know, and he has that takeover a game mentality and ability. The nice thing about him, though, he's unselfish, as we talked about earlier. He's patient, and he trusts his teammates. He'll give them the basketball, and if they're working it, if they're getting it done, so be it. He'll let it happen.
18 points for him now. It's the biggest lead for Country Day, 16. Well, that brings the crowd out. Jason Moorehead a little give and go.
But unfortunately, it only counts for 2, and Albion's still down by 14 points.
Yeah, the judges might give it a 9-8, but that's only 2 on the board, and it's a 14-point deficit. But Moorehead did make an athletic play. Here's Battier again, and Moorehead blocks that one out of bounds. So they're not willing to just let him roam inside there. He has scored the last 7 straight Country Day points.
Okay, here's that out of bounds where usually Battier is the #1 option. There he is.
There he is, and he's wide open.
Yeah.
Fuller with a rebound. So 3:33 to play. Country Day in the lead and in command, but hasn't quite put it away just yet. And again, they won by 22. The Yellowjackets did over Albion 76-54 in December. Down the lane, and that one doesn't go. Put back by Fuller is good. Mike Fuller has his first field goal of the night.
Fuller's not a bad guy to have. He's a backup center on this team, forced to start today and play long minutes. But he is not a bad guy as a backup.
And he hasn't shown any intimidation at all. He's gone in there, mixed it up, and scrapped. And to get your first start in the state championship's kind of tough against one of the most heralded players of all time. And Battier has 20. So 20 for Battier and 20 for Javin Hunter. That's 40 of Country Day's 51 points. Battier now 9 out of 15 from the field, and Hunter 10 out of 13. Here's Fuller trying to get it off. Weber pulls it out of the mess. And on the turnover, Albion will try to cut into the 14-point deficit down the lane, and it just won't quite go. Fuller and Battier pulls it away. Stolen by Funderburg out of bounds, and a foul's called. Well, the Albion fans certainly haven't given up. 51-37, Detroit Country Day. Still 2:16 to play in the third quarter. That foul is called on Hunter. Javin Hunter has his second. That's only the third team foul. And there's a timeout on the floor. So Country Day will talk it over with a 14-point lead. You can watch some of the best wrestlers around battle for championship gold as the United Dairy Industry of Michigan presents the 1997 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Individual Wrestling Finals right here on Pass Sports. Highlights of the Division 1 and 2 finals will be shown next Saturday, followed by the Division 3 and 4 finals on April 5th. All a part of a March Magic package here exclusively on Pass Sports. Tim Staudt, Greg Kelser with you. Nice to have you with us on this final game. How about this pre-play, Gregory?
Well, again, you got Battier in there mixing it up. There's Fuller trying to wrestle the ball away unsuccessfully. Now, at this point, Javin Hunter's going to try and push it up the floor, but there's the deflection. Tell you what, Laval Jordan is all over the place as well. He's hustled. He's certainly done his part in this effort, but they're all going to have to pull it together and step it up if they're going to get back in this game. Down 14 with 2:16 to go in this quarter.
It was 36-30. Country Day led at halftime. Albion has not led since has not led at all in this game. And so since the half, it has been a 15-7 run. Excuse me. Yeah, 15-7 run here for Country Day here in the third quarter. So now both teams back on the floor here. 2:16 remaining to be played. Albion 25-2, the Twin Valley League champs. They won all 14 league games. Didn't have much problem doing that. And they've spent most of this season with nothing but in the win column. Here's Moorehead for three, and he knocks it down. Jason Moorehead. Well, he's got 7 of his team's 10 in the third quarter, and it's an 11-point deficit.
He can shoot it. He's going to have to see the ball a lot, though, from here on out. 19
points for Jason Moorehead. He's averaging 22, but he's averaging 30 in the last 4 games, and he has 19 now.
He needs to see it. Jordan needs to see it. And Funderburg needs to make better decisions down the lane, but they've all got to step it up defensively.
Javin Hunter gets his 22nd points with a little drive into the lane in. 11 out of 14 for Javin Hunter tonight. Down the lane, Funderburg has it batted away by Colin Dill out of bounds, and Albion will get it back. Now Shane Battier had a quick blow. He's going to come back into the game now. He's worn that headset, that headband, Gregory, ever since he was a freshman. That's just been part of the deal.
That very one?
Maybe. I hope not. I think the first one looked like that, though. All right, Mike Fuller's going to sit down, and Rob Smith hobbles back on the floor. And so Albion will inbound the basketball now. Here's Moorehead looking to make his move, and it's altered by Battier, just too much, and they don't foul him, then Albion fouls, okay? So that's Eric Birch, who's into the game now, the 5'11 junior. And Eric Birch picks up that foul. So Country Day will inbound the basketball here from the side. With the length of the floor to go, and there's no defensive pressure here as you get a good look at Colin Dill on the floor for Detroit Country Day. By the way, for Albion, Eric Birch and Jason Moorehead, their fathers played in high school at Albion, so they're here somewhere looking on tonight, enjoying it. And that's goaltending. Moorehead just gave Battier a couple there. Shane Battier now has 11 points in the third quarter and 22 for the night. 22 for Battier, 22 for Javin Hunter, and it's a 15-point game once again. Now we're still in the third quarter. Oh, Rob Smith has to go off his foot momentarily. Albion trying to get this thing set up a little bit, get a decent shot off. Battier's chasing Moorehead here and driving him crazy, and a whistle and a foul, and that one will go against, I believe, or no, is it tipped out of bounds? I guess it was tipped out of bounds.
Had his foot on the out of bounds line when he tipped it.
Colin Dill was standing out of bounds, and so for Albion, Laval Jordan, who has all 8 points in the first half and hadn't been able to get much of a shot off in the third quarter, has it now at inside 40 seconds here in the third quarter. Between Hunter and Battier, they are 21 of 30 tonight for 44 points. So their shooting has been sensational, but all of it's been around a basket. Moorehead for a win. That one's wide to the left like a field goal in football, not basketball. Here goes Battier, and it's right at the right angle.
Blew a tire. Needs to check his air pressure.
Albion looking to get a 3 here before the clock runs out at the end of the third quarter. Down the lane, there's the left hand. Oh, this is going. Battier has a rebound here as we come to the end of the third quarter. A big third quarter for Detroit Country Day. They increase a 6-point halftime lead to 15 at the end of the third quarter. 8 more minutes in the high school basketball season. You come back, you're watching the MHSAA on Pass.
After 3 quarters, Country Day expands its lead to a much more comfortable, by their standpoint, advantage of 15 points over Albion. Rick Berkey joined alongside by Marshall Thomas after 3 quarters. And again, the athleticism we see of Country Day building that advantage up. And, you know, one thing that may be scary, if it doesn't scare you enough with their talent levels, it's really how young this Country Day team is.
You know, we've heard a lot about Shane Battier all year, and he is the player that everybody's saying that he is, but he has a very, very, very good complement of players along with him. He's got some other division players along with him.
And so many of them underclassmen that will be coming back and back. And again, we've talked about the unselfishness of Battier, and we see that. How many times have you seen him play where they kick it down into him, and a lot of players would take the shot, but he passes it off for a better one?
He does that. Country Day, if you want to call it that, is a team in a true sense of the word. Very, very, very good team.
Well, 1 more quarter to play in the basketball season, so for the final 8 minutes, down to Tim and Greg.
I'll take a look at this replay. Here's Shane Battier. Won't do this very often. Greg says he blew a tie.
Well, he wanted to dunk it, but, you know, he got airborne a little too soon.
The rim had to be 2 feet closer to him.
Did not have the floatability.
And it would have been perfect. Well, he's going to go out here with a bang. He's got 22 here through 3 quarters, and Battier is 10 out of 17 tonight with 12 rebounds. And you can see the field goal shooting has been awful for Albion tonight, but of course Country Day's had a lot to do with that. Here's Battier making his move here.
Not often nowadays do you see a team at any level shooting 50%, 56% from the field.
Mike Mansell hits it. The junior with 7 points. He hasn't had all the points tonight, but he's been steady. 17-point game now. That's Country Day's biggest lead. Well, Moorehead's going to have to go for a figure. I don't know, Battier. The crowd thought Battier might have blocked him there, but the putback is up and in. And we'll get the official ruling on that. Gibson gets it. Chris Gibson has his first 2 points of the night, and it's a 15-point game again. Here's Colin Dill. Right there. He's only a sophomore. No problem. 4 points for Colin Dill. 17-point game again. I got a feeling, Gregory, that his last 6:58 is going to be one racehorse basketball game. And a lot of guys are going to be making some premier moves here in these last minutes of this season.
Well, both teams don't mind the up-tempo. Thing about it, when you up-tempo, then maximum importance is placed on decision-making. And Country Days has been pretty good throughout.
Oh, what a sweet move inside by Jason Moorehead. He now has 21 points, so he's having a big night. Hunter down the line. They're going to give him a travel. That's the first layup he's missed the entire night. So Javin Hunter turns it over, and with 6:41 to play, Country Day has a 15-point lead, and Albion inbounds the ball.
Now, you know, Mick McCabe, the son of Swami from the Free Press, told me that Javin Hunter is a better football player. Can you imagine that?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me either. Moorehead is fouled, and he's going to shoot 2, and we'll stop the clock at 6:30. So Country Day can't get sloppy here against an athletic team. That follows against Shane Battier. Imagine as active as Battier is, that's only his first. There's the Swami right there, Mick McCabe. So Battier's first personal foul, and here's Jason Moorehead on the line. He's 0 for 2. Jason Moorehead, 3 players in the game now with 22 points. 59 to 45, 6.5 to play. Moorehead now has his 23rd. So this guy's been the scoring machine in the state high school tournament at any level this spring. But his team is 13 down and needs defensive stops here to get back. They're telling Mansell, go ahead and shoot. And Battier says, I'll do it, and he has 24. So Fuller got up in the air, and that's all Battier needed to do. He has that nice little touch, Greg. You know, he extends those arms, and with his height, nobody can block it, at least at this level. And it's a 15-point game again.
Well, the thing I like, he catches the basketball, takes his time, turns, surveys, and then makes his move. I mean, he doesn't just catch it and go without knowing where the defense is.
Well, Val Jordan has 10 with that 2-pointer. Battier doesn't change expressions very often. Boy, what a career he has had. 72-8, the record of Country Day in the 3 years, and 3 of those losses this year with him out of the lineup. I don't know how that came out, but Colin Dill said, I'll take care of it, and he has 6. 63 to 48.
What it says is that, yeah, they do have an excellent supporting cast, Country Day.
Moorehead down the lane. Fuller battling inside, and Fuller's shown some active play. We still haven't really got the call. This must be a foul against Country Day, and they give it to Colin Dill, and that's 3 on him.
Yeah. Here's the strong move to the basket by Moorehead. You know, the point I was going to make a moment ago, Country Day has all those great players surrounding Battier, but they win with Battier. Without him out of the line, without him in the lineup, their winning percentage is at 25%, 1 out of 4. So you see his importance to this team.
Well, Rob Smith has his head in his hands on the bench. I mean, he's just dying on the Albion bench. I don't know if it's just been a tough night for him. He won't have any fun after this one at all. Hunter's shot is altered, and it comes out of there. Nice play by Albion's Jermaine Funderburg down to Moorehead. He scores, he counts, and he'll go to the line. And that's going to cut it a little bit more. Boy, Jason Moorehead is having a huge 4th quarter. He has 13 points here in the second half, 63 to 50. And that foul is on Country Day's. Now let's make sure I got it right here before we. I guess I do. 25 in the game. Martin Rawls-Meehan, a senior into the game, has his first foul, and here's Jason Moorehead on the line. Big game for him. 25 points for Jason Moorehead. His free throwing has not been perfect tonight. He's only 2 out of 5 from the line.
But that missed good because now they get another possession. And no time is going off the clock.
No, and 13 down certainly is. That's catchable with Albion's athleticism. Problem is the mistakes they made, they don't have much room for error.
None.
From here on out.
Oh, their margin for error disappeared last quarter.
Inside, this is Battier off the glass way too hard, and Moorehead's fouled. And so that will be the 7th team foul on Country Day, and Jason Moorehead's going to have a chance to add to his total and cut the lead more with a clock stop. That foul is on David Weber, his 3rd foul, so they'll walk to the other end. And Jason Moorehead will be on the line, a senior closing out a brilliant career at Albion, and is firing in points tonight at another record clip. But the free throwing is what's hurt him, because he'd be up around 30. He is 2 for 6 from the line and 10 for 22 from the field.
And that was the same as missing 2, because it was the front end of a 1-and-1. He didn't get the second.
Country Day here looking for the shot at once. That's it, and it's up and down. A 2-pointer by Mike Knight. That gives him 4 points on the evening. And once again, just like that, it's back to a 15-point game, and Albion throws it away. The Wildcats have made just enough mistakes in this game where they get just around that 11-point mark, and then they can't get any closer. 11, 12, 13. And they make the mistakes, and as Greg said, they just don't have any margin for error.
Yeah, and at this point of the game, with 4 minutes to go, I don't think they can win. I don't think they can overcome a 15-point deficit, because in order to do that, they've got to have a lot of cooperation from Country Day, and they're not going to get it.
No, because they're not going to just start firing up shots here from all over the place. They'll work the clock. They have no incentive to keep the scoreboard clicking here. And down the lane, the foul will send David Weber to the line. I'll say one thing for Kurt Keener and his coaches. These players play well together. They develop early. They play a tough schedule. So good look at David Weber as we get a new player in here for Albion. Number 50 is Jason Lauterbach, a 6'3" senior. He comes in, and Demario Washington goes out. So Charles Henderson using his seniors in this game. So here is David Weber, only a junior. Brother Jason, of course, plays on the Michigan State team. You know enough about Chris Weber, who was part of this state championship success at Country Day. 16-point game. And David Weber has 3 points. And out of there goes Mike Knight, the junior. Country Day fans getting used to this by now. What a run this will be. 6 state championships in 9 years for Detroit Country Day. And the only tournament game they were really pushed on the putback. Martin Rawls-Meehan gets his first 2, and he's a senior, so he'll enjoy that. But River Rouge lost by 13.
A lot of people would say that was the championship game, the River Rouge game against Country Day.
Moorhead flying inside, can't get anything to go. 3-on-1 for Country Day. Mansell takes it all away by himself and knocks it in. Mike Mansell quietly with 9 points, and now it's a 20-point game with 3 minutes to play.
You know, Kurt Keener does a fine job for the Country Day squad, but you know, you mentioned River Rouge a moment ago, and they're coached by third-year head man Lamonte Stone, who was the Western Wayne County Coach of the Year. He has just totally revived that program. Once proud program, down in the doldrums for a lot of years, now back as one of the more formidable teams in Class B, and a team a lot of people are going to predict will win the Class B championship next year.
So that could be another matchup somewhere down the line next year. Detroit Country Day and River Rouge. Jermaine Funderburg's on the line after David Weber got his 4th foul. And the free throwing for Albion again. Just not what the Wildcats need. They have not got it done there. They are 5 out of 13 on the free throw line tonight. Some of the crowd filing out of here. These are the last 3 minutes for Shane Battier and company this season. And Moorehead is fouled going to the basket. So Jason Moorehead is wrapping up again, quite a year. And he has 25 points, and he will shoot 1 and 1. That's 9 fouls now on Country Day, so the next one they'll have an automatic 2. And now Javin Hunter checks out of the lineup, gets a fine hand. 22 points for Javin Hunter tonight, only a junior. Ray Guthrie is back on the floor, number 10 for Country Day. 26 points now for Jason Moorehead. Well, the Breslin Center again will host these championships now for another 98, 99, it's another 4 years anyway. They've signed a new deal through the year 2001, and it's a 3-day event instead of 2. They play 4 semis on Thursday, 4 on Friday, and then the 4 finals on Saturday. So some new players on the floor here for Country Day anyway. We're down to 2:48 to play. The first game this morning, the Class D game, was as good a Class D final as you'll see any year between Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian and Detroit East Catholic. They went at it all day, and it was a 3-point win at the buzzer for Detroit East Catholic. Jason Moorehead now has 4 fouls, and Shane Battier will go to the line. 24 points for Battier. That's a 16 foul, so there'll be no free throw shooting. Well, Greg, who knows what future in basketball some of these players like Shane Battier have. This could be the start of you don't know.
Well, I think Shane's got An excellent chance to be a fine college basketball player. Javin Hunter certainly a good chance to be whatever he wants to be in college. He's a terrific athlete, no question about that. Jason Moorehead too, you know, maybe needs to get under control a little bit more, but boy, does he have athleticism. And he can shoot it.
He will shoot it. That's a 16-point game now here in the last 2:19. There's little Ray Guthrie. No, and Battier can't quite get up on top, and a foul is called. He's looking to make the grand finale here at some point, and that might have been it. Are they going to call that on Battier at the other end? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
That'll be his second personal foul.
Watch the ball hang up on the rim, and then look from out of nowhere, Battier right up over the back of Fuller. No question on that call.
And Shane Battier's high school career has now come to an end, and he gets a standing ovation. Shane Battier checks out of the lineup, and his high school career, he and Kurt Keener have been together for 3 years as a coach and athlete, and what a career it was. They'll go to 73-8 with this victory here tonight.
Guy's a winner.
24 points in his final high school game. So Mike Fuller is on the line here. 4 points for Mike Fuller now. 50, and with Battier leaving, some of the other fans have started to leave too. I just hope Greg sticks around.
I'll be here.
All right. And on the putback, that rolls up and in by Jason Lauterbach. So it's a 13-point game at the 2-minute and 4-second mark. I don't know if Country Day turns it over and 1 or 2 more of these go back in. Battier may get a curtain call. We can tell you while they march back up the floor that this telecast has been a copyrighted production of the Michigan High School Athletic Association and Pass Sports. No reproduction of the pictures or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the MHSAA and Pass Sports. You stay with us after the game. We'll have the medal ceremonies and trophy presentations for both teams. Always part of the program here on the state high school basketball finals. Martin Rawls Meehan at the line has 3 points with that free throw. 71-57, Country Day at 1 Newton. Albion still with its prime players on the floor here. Down the floor, the drive, and that one is up and in by Laval Jordan. 12 for him, and it's a 12-point game with 1:50 to play. Albion steals it. Here's a little jumper. That one just rolls around and off. Kurt Keener says, don't make me look bad by having to put my guys back in. Albion's going to get it back. They're down 12. And I'll tell you what, this Moorehead gets it. Oh, and then he throws it away. And then there's his 5th foul, and that's ended his career right there. So Jason Moorehead will foul out of the game. 29 points for Jason Moorehead, and his career has come to an end. And he gets a standing ovation from the Albion fans.
You know what? Had Albion been under control, and let's say they would have gotten a 3-pointer that last possession, pulled themselves to within 9 points. I bet you Kurt Keener would have then put some of those starters who've already gotten their standing ovation back into the game.
Moorehead, 11 out of 25. He had 12 rebounds. 71-59 is his score. He fouls out with 29 points. Boy, was he consistent in his last 5 games. 30, 30, 31, 28, 29 in the last 5 tournament games.
Supposed to turn it up in the tournament. That's what he did.
So on the line now for Country Day is Sagar, boy, I hope I got this right, Janveya. We'll see how Eric Brissett pronounces it here, the public address announcer. Sagar Janveya.
I'd say Janveya.
Janveya, that's what I got. Sagar Janveya.
See, the only problem for Albion, if they're going to have a miraculous finish, they really need Moorehead on the floor, and he's unavailable now with 5 fouls.
There's the put back up and in by Jason Lauterbach, and now it's a 10-point game with 1:13 to go.
They need the foul. They need the stoppage of the clock.
And Country Day would like to just pull it out and keep the clock running. And you're right, Gregory. I mean,
I would have fouled 25 seconds ago. You got to save that time.
They get a steal instead. Down the floor they come.
But they've lost time.
Single digits. If he gets it, it's good. If it's missed it, it's an offensive foul. Will it count or not?
Well, you know what? It should count. I don't know.
No, they're going to wave it off.
They're going to wave it off. But you know what? That ball was in the hole on the floor before the whistle ever blew.
Jesse Campbell, number 34, is called for the foul.
Okay, watch this. Now the whistle blows and the ball's coming out of the net.
So Country Day keeps running players in and out. Take a look at this. Was the ball in the hole here? He's close, but waved off.
Well, maybe the whistle was late and the call was accurate.
Well, Albion has now made wholesale changes here now. 10-point game with 46 seconds to go. And you're right, they really do just need to foul him. And that ball's tipped out of bounds, and Albion will get it back. So this score is going to be much closer than what the game really was. I mean, this was a 6-point game at the half, but then Country Day took over. It was all Javin Hunter in the first half and Shane Battier in the third quarter. And that's another offensive foul. It's turned into a bit of a football game, and Corey Brown gets whistled for that.
You know, if guys were a little more confident in their jump shot shooting ability, you wouldn't see so many bad decisions going to the hole. You wouldn't see so many charges and so many guys out of control if they just had more confidence in their shooting ability. Fundamentals.
Well, Albion loses 4 of these senior starters, so they'll be rebuilding with some of these players on the floor next winter. And Albion ends tonight again with still its only state championship back in 1939. But a great season nonetheless, 25-3. Albion will finish up and a runner-up finish in Class B. And Country Day will finish 25-3. And 2 of the 3 losses for Albion to Country Day. You count it down. We're inside 10 seconds. So it's been quite a season, Gregory. Hard to believe it's come to an end. Well, you got, you're not done, I know that.
I've got time off coming up most immediately.
So we'll have the award presentation here right after we break away and let them celebrate and turn it down and run the clock out, and that will end it. And will they count that? They do count a 3. A 3-pointer will count and make the final score 71-64. So Country Day, which led 70-50, was outscored 14-1 with the substitutes on the floor. But Detroit Country Day has its 3rd consecutive Class B state title. These seniors have won 3 straight state titles, and the school has 6 state championships in the last 9 years, all under the coaching of Kurt Keener. They can wrestle and hug each other one last time. They've done it twice before. We'll come back with our presentation in just a moment. Detroit Country Day wins it over Albion tonight, 71-64 here on Pass.
Our final champion of the day crowned in Class B, Country Day Yellowjackets, make it 3 in a row and conclude the Shane Battier era of Country Day in fine fashion with a 71-64 victory. So Country Day joins Detroit East Catholic in Class D, Redford Bishop Borges in Class C, Grand Rapids Ottawa Hills in Class A as state champions the final day of basketball here in 1997. So the teams will put the basketballs away, and a lot of them will, as we said, will get back into the spring sports situation, as Kurt Keener getting a word right now with the MHSAA radio network, and he'll have to say goodbye to Shane Battier, of course, but as we talked about during this contest, very, very impressive performance once again by the underclassmen, and you have to overlook beyond that. This is an extremely young Country Day team, and Javin Hunter, who has shown his talent before, probably more accurate to say he showed his brilliance this evening in leading Country Day to this Class B crown. And in just a moment, they're going to hand out the winning and runner-up trophies, as well as the individual medals to these fine athletes. I guess there's a student, or one of the players is down. And we'll check on that. Rob Smith, we are told, of Albion, is shaken up. We're not sure what the situation is there, but they're holding up on that before we get going on this. You know, we mentioned the sportsmanship around the area, and the new increased stress of sportsmanship, as we talked with Jack Roberts about the new banners. There's a new logo, in fact, that is being displayed in the new banners for the first time this weekend, and those are in evidence as well. Country Day wins the Class B crown. Stay with us. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the presentation of the championship trophy and medals, let's acknowledge these two fine teams for their achievements this year and their play here this evening. At this time, we direct your attention to center court, where Dennis Canola, principal, Stevensville Lakeshore Junior High School, member of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Representative Council, will make the awards presentations. First, let us honor the runner-up in Class B, the Wildcats of Albion. First, we will present individual medals. Number 10, Kevin Haynes. Number 12, Mario Desmuke. Number 14, Eric Chamberlain. Number 20, Jermaine Funderburg.
After you guys get your medals, go behind the
22, Laval Jordan. '24, Eric Birch. '30, Corey Brown. 32, Cale Abram. 34, Jesse Campbell. 40, Chris Gibson. 42, Demario Washington. 44, Jason Moorehead. 50, Jason Lutterbach. 52, Mike Fuller. 54, Rob Smith. And accepting the runner-up trophy in Class B, Coach Charles Henderson. Congratulations to Albion, the Wildcats, on an outstanding season. And now, for the 1997 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class B champions, the Yellowjackets of Detroit Country Day. First, the individual medals. Number 10, Ray Guthrie. '14, Sagar Janvija. 15, David Weber. 20, Javin Hunter. 22, Mike Runyon. 24, Mike Knight. 25, Martin Rouse Meehan. 30, Jabril Lockhart. 32, Jarrett Lewis. 33, Ian Hartshorn. 34, Mike Mansell. 42, Jeremy Battier. 44, Khalid Haywood. 50, Colin Dill. 55, Shane Battier. And accepting the championship trophy, Coach Mark Keener. Congratulations to Detroit Country Day, the 1997 Class B boys basketball champions.
The Yellowjackets win their third Class B crown in a row. Stay with us. One of your network sponsors is the United Dairy Industry of Michigan.
The MHSAA On Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award, and by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, promoting healthy eating habits through the Sports Nutrition Award Program.
Country Day wins the Class B crown by 7 points. Each team won 2 quarters, if you want to look at it that way, but a couple of big quarters, first and third, for the Yellowjackets, spelling the victory. Marshall Thomas joins us once again. A reflection, first and final thoughts on this victory by the Yellowjackets.
Well, they are an outstanding basketball team, and I think they had to play a very good basketball game because they had their hands filled with against a very talented Albion. Even though you never really got the feeling that the Yellowjackets were ever in trouble, Albion still displayed some very good basketball talents.
Reflect back on all 4 state championships, and the Breslin certainly saw its share of excitement today.
Not only today, all weekend, I felt that this was a very exciting weekend in the sense that you had a lot of real tight ball games, and the ball games kept you in suspense until the end.
Well, enjoyed working with you once again, partner. We'll do it again next year.
I hope so, Rick.
All right, let's go down courtside right now as Tim and Greg have got some happy Yellowjackets celebrating the title.
Kurt Keener, it's sweeter the third time around, Coach, 3 in a row. It doesn't happen very often.
It's just a wonderful feeling. I'm so proud of our kids and how they came together this year and all the effort they put forth. We love it, and we're going to take this one home and enjoy it for a good while now.
Close for 1/2, and then you pulled away in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's been kind of our style all year, is try to wear teams down, and the kids did a great job defensively again tonight.
Okay, Coach, congratulations. Greg Kelser has 2 of the stars from Country Day over here. Kurt, congratulations.
2 of the better players we've seen today, and certainly getting the job done. Shane Battier, you shook off the effects of the flu, came out with one heck of a game. I can't think of a better way to end your high school career, can you?
Oh, no, it's been a storybook career, and it's the perfect way to end it.
Javin, so much has been talked about as far as this big guy is concerned, deservedly so. He's one of the best players in Michigan high school basketball history, but you put on one heck of a show. In fact, there were times when maybe you were the best athlete on the floor today.
I just tried to come out and have the best game of my life. I had a little off game yesterday, and I just tried to finish off the year strong.
Your thoughts coming into this game? Obviously, you played Albion before, you'd won. I always say it's difficult the next time to beat a team. What were your thoughts coming into today's game?
Oh, definitely. I thought they had the psychological edge after we beat them by 20 early in December. But we knew we had the big game edge. We've played more big games than they had, and I knew that'd be the difference, and it was.
Okay, guys, congratulations. It was certainly a joy watching both of you play. You're fine young men. Keep it up.
Okay. Country Day, here are the stars. And the medal looks good. Gregory, that's it from down here. 71-64, Country Day ends the day. Hope you enjoyed it. And let's go back up to Rick Berkey up in the booth. Rick?
Thanks, guys, and good job. And stay with us because this is the MHSAA On Pass. Back at the Breslin one more time. You see the arena has pretty much emptied out. A lot of the fans were here all day, and Certainly enjoyed talking with the special fan that was here and enjoyed his 52nd consecutive state championship, gentleman from New Baltimore. And that's part of the tradition here. We encourage you folks, if you have not had a chance to make it down and make it a weekend now with a one-site tournament, semifinals in Class D and C on Thursday, and then the semifinals in Class A and B on Friday. Then, of course, you've got the 4 state championships on Saturday. Make sure that you plan on doing that sometime. Why don't we quickly run down one more time the final champions and decisions today in Class D. Andrew Mitchell hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer as Detroit East Catholic beat Tri-Unity Christian 63-60. In Class C, Bishop Borges over 3 Oaks River Valley. In Class C, in Class A, Ottawa Hills over Detroit Redford. And in Class B, just concluded, Country Day defeated Albion. We hope you've enjoyed our basketball coverage here on Pass Today. Hope you'll join this next Saturday afternoon when present coverage of the MHSAA Lower Peninsula Girls Finals and the Lower Peninsula Individual Wrestling Finals. Your Class B champion is Detroit Country Day, a 71-64 winner over Albion. Now for Tim Staudt, Gregory Kelser, Marshall Thomas, and our production crew from TCI Cablevision of Oakland County, I'm Rick Berkey. So long, everybody.